What's up, folks? Welcome to another edition of The Winning Drive right here on Texas Football. I'm lifetime Longhorn Rod Davis, joined by fellow lifetime Longhorn CJ Vogel. Boom, there he is right there. Boom, I got it right. And joined by the coach, Coach Bob Shipley, former high school football coach at Vernon, Capel, Brownwood, Rotan, also Belton, also played college football at Abilene Christian, coached there as well, was on the staff at the University of Texas for multiple stints. I am not wearing my Shipley Ranches hat, so Coach, I apologize. Usually I'm representing. It's Coach Bob Shipley. Coach, let everybody know where you are right now.
Man, I'm at Bahamar, Rosewood, Bahamar in Nassau, Bahamas.
Come on.
Anniversary month.
That's a beautiful thing. Look at that background. That's beautiful, Coach. Hey, Coach, all of us are envious. All of us are a little jealous right now. CJ, how you doing, brother? What's going on?
Good. Just got back down to Austin, hanging out, ready for the big weekend ahead on the official visitors month. And again, I think I'm ready. Jerry's ready. I'm sure most of these coaches are ready for these official visitors to return home, so we can get on with the summer and get into the July month as well.
Yeah, I want to get into that, of course, on the show a little bit. I know everybody is, they really. Jedi Master Evo, Ron, your hat collection is well endowed. Yes, sir. There you go. Boom. CJ, you keep getting the shout outs, man. Well, hey, the program is a well endowed program, no doubt. I like that. And
that's right.
And you know what? Shout out to Mama Vogel, because she had a great sense of humor about it, because it turns out she was on the stream when my man CJ dropped that little pun there. All right, so we'll get to that. We'll talk some recruiting on the show. Matter of fact, there was a decommitment in the 2026 class that we need to get to. So we'll get CJ's thoughts about that. Also, sometimes I hate to tease our special guests because it doesn't always work out. People have schedules, but we are expecting a special guest coming up. Hey, Mama Vogel's here. Woo! There you go. Hey, I like that. There you go. Hey, so no doubt. So watch y'all's jokes, y'all. Hey, be respectful. All right, of the endowment jokes, because Mama Vogel's here. But we're expecting a special guest around 4:45 or 5 o'clock. I don't know if Matthew will should I even say it? Should I tease it, or just say we got a special guest? Just in case. Because I don't like throwing people under the bus in case it doesn't work out. And then if it doesn't work out, then people get upset like, oh, they start blaming that person. So I'll just say we got a special guest. All right, just in case something happens and it doesn't work out, because that's happened before. Trust me, I worked in radio for like 15 years. Half the damn time we schedule a guest, it's a toss-up whether they're going to show up or not. It's just the way it is. People have schedules. People forget. Things happen. So we're expecting a guest, and you want to stick around for that, because it's going to be a damn good one. I can assure you of that. All right, we don't disappoint when it comes to that. Our friends over at On Texas Football, Jerry Hamilton, always hooking us up with great guests as well. CJ always working hard to do that too. So we'll have that coming up around between 4:45 and 5 o'clock. Quinn Ewers did an interview with RG3. I don't know if you guys had a chance to actually check that out, but there are a couple of nuggets from that interview that I want to bring up and talk about, so we'll do that. And there's 2 Longhorn DBs getting some love in the preseason award watch list, the Lot Impact Trophy Award watch list. I want to get into that a little bit too later on the show. And of course, all of your questions, all of your comments, hit us up. We'll answer as many of the questions as we can. You guys know how it is. Super chats can interrupt the show at any time. They jump to the front of the line. That's how that goes. So let's start, CJ, with, I think, the biggest news, I guess, at least the most recent news in Longhorn country. They had a decommitment in the 2026 class, running back Racine Guillory. Decommitting. Give us give everybody the lowdown on what happened there and the decommitment of Racine Guillory, who was he was one of 2 commitments in that class, correct?
Yeah, he was. He was committed early January. Of course, he made it down for the junior day, committed soon right after that trip in January. Running back out of Aledo, really talented, helped Aledo make a run to the state title this year. In a year I don't think many expected them to make or win the state title. Really talented running back, has been battling a bit of a knee issue since the season. Wasn't able to participate fully in track, which is where you see most of his explosiveness in his game, is that speed, that one cut and go ability. But I think Texas fans kind of saw the writing on the wall with this one, right? It was only about a month ago he tweeted out top 7 coming soon. It was like, wait a minute, you're committed. Last night around 1:15 in the morning, he actually tweeted out, I need someone to make a commitment graphic. And it was like, hold on, you're committed. It was like, what's going on here? So when you start, kind of teetering around some of those tweets, you start, kind of offering out your own recruitment to other schools and programs and whatnot. It kind of lends itself to what else is going on behind the scenes. And I think the University of Texas, it won't be shy when it comes to running back recruiting. It's a great state in 2026 in the state of Texas, whether it be Tredarin Ball, KJ Edwards, JV and Osborne. The University of Texas is going to be just fine at the running back position. Where they go from here, that'll be interesting. But certainly, Texas has stopped recruiting that running back spot. I think they kind of knew deep down what might occur with Guillory, obviously, and they're well positioned with other guys in this class, 100%.
Okay, so you got a couple of questions here. Hey, Coach, I'm not gonna lie to you. I can't stop looking at your background, Coach. It's blue. You see this? You see the background, Coach? There. I gotta tell you, the beautiful blue water. I can see all the trees there, Coach. I'm a little envious. I'm just sorry. I'm distracted. Thinking about.
I've been running into some Texas fans down here, man.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, they're the best people on the face of the earth, man.
Wow,
that's great.
That is crazy. In the Bahamas, running into Texas fans. There you go. It's a good thing. That's what. Hopefully, some of them are watching right now. That'd be awesome. Hey, Coach. So when do you get there? By the way, when did you get there?
Got here Tuesday. Be here on Sunday. Yeah.
So you've been there. You've been there a little while. You got a chance to.
I've been around enough to look like a dang lobster. I know that.
Hey, Coach. Yeah, you gonna come back nice and tan. You come back looking good. I like that. Nice and tan. That's how you do.
I'm gonna go back and see my dermatologist when I get back.
No doubt. All right, a couple of questions here for CJ in regards to the conversation we were just having about the decommitment of Racine Guillory. Bo Tex knows. He wants to know who's next man up in the 2026 running back recruiting class, fellas.
Yeah, I think Tredarin Ball is an easy one to point to. Really talented back out of Texarkana. KJ Edwards is another one out of Carthage. Texas also hosted Keelan Chavies out of Hutto for the June 1st Elite Camp. He's earned, 10, 15 offers since the beginning of the spring. Texas has yet to offer him officially, but he's a really talented back there. Of course, Javian Osborne is a really talented back out of Forney that was up at Tennessee at the first week of June. So it's been a minute since he's been down to Austin. Those are probably the four on the in-state front. Again, it's a really deep cycle, really deep class for the running back spot in the state of Texas this year for 2026. So that'll help, obviously, with Texas continuing to play well, kind of churning out those running backs. And obviously, it certainly helps having Tashard Choice as your running back coach. That's going to play a factor in a number of these big recruitments. Now that Texas is back to reevaluating and getting their big board situated, it'll be interesting to see who floats to the top right now. My best bet would be Tredarin Ball or KJ Edwards.
Okay. Good stuff there, CJ. Another question here from Jedi Master Bevo's already been contributing to the chat here. Says, is the decommitment from the 2026 Elite or running back due to possible interest from bigger running back recruits after Bell's commitment?
I just think it's a kid that might have committed a little bit too early. It's one of those things. We've talked about it. He committed in January, about 2 full years out from when he would be signing his national letter of intent. I think that Bell commitment, although very big for the Longhorns, it's way too early to, kind of pin other big national prospects onto the University of Texas just 2 days after that commitment came down. So I don't think it has any correlation to the decommitment or the commitment one way or the other.
All right. Thank you for the question. Guys, throw them out there. We'll answer as many of the questions as we can before we get to some of the topics here. As a matter of fact, one topic I want to get to, and I saw someone in the chat talking about the RG3 interview with Quinn Ewers. As a matter of fact, KD35, I'm the best, as the Quinn and RG interview was really good. It actually was pretty good. And it's lengthy, too. I think it's like 45 minutes or so. So it's a lot in it. They kind of go through his time at Ohio State, talk about that. They talk about him leaving school early, all that, and then talk about his time in Texas. Just a couple of, I won't give too much away, so you can go check it out for yourself. But one of the things I thought was interesting, Coach, when they asked him, what he learned from Sark. And I thought this showed a lot of growth and maturity on Quinn's part, because I asked him, said, what do you learn from Sark? And Quinn said, the first thing, I'm paraphrasing, one of the first things he said was, Sark has taught me as a quarterback, you can't go broke taking a profit. And that basically don't force the deep shots. Just don't be afraid to check it down if that's the right decision. And he talked about later in the interview how in the Big 12 title game, he said on the first couple of drives that he got like 30, 40 yards, just checking it down. He's checking it down to the running backs, boom, them breaking tackles. You're a coach. I know you got a lot of coachisms, coach, that I love. That's a damn good one. I love that coachism. Can't go broke taking a profit. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna teach my daughter that. That's one you can do that with family or football. What are your thoughts about what Quinn said he learned from Sark as a quarterback? Can't go broke taking a profit. Take that check down.
Man, that's a lot of wisdom. I mean, it's just he said it in a way that Quinn obviously remembered the way he put it. And that's the thing you got to do when you're coaching. You got to put things in a way that players will remember it. A lot of the things I learned at the University of Texas on that staff that I can't repeat, but they were said in a way that the players remembered them. Thankfully, this one was G-rated, so he can remember that. But it just makes so much sense, and you can see Quinn's growth and development through that wisdom, and I'm sure many other nuggets that Sark has taught him. No doubt, he's just. It's been amazing to watch his growth, and I even had some people here, yesterday say, "Hey, man, you think Manning's going to start next year?" And I'm like, "Man, we got one of the top quarterbacks in the country. What are you talking about? Manning's day will come," and he is mature. He is so mature that he knows that. He's going to wait his turn. But don't think that Manning's not putting all those nuggets in his mind too. And when it's his turn and he's ready to play, he will have used so many things that not only Sark taught him, but Quinn taught him as well. And
that's the beautiful thing about Manning, right? He got that lesson when he was like a preteen in the Manning family. And he was that lesson that Quinn had to learn as a sophomore in college. He learned in the Manning family as like a preteen. Like
he's like instead of saying I learned in mommy and daddy, I learned take what the defense gives you before I could even learn mama and daddy.
Yeah, he learned Omaha.
Yeah,
Before he said mom and dad. Yeah, I mean that's the beauty of being from the first family of football when they are a quarterback family, a quarterback legacy and tradition. I mean, so I love that though. I'll tell you what I thought about it, guys, because it took me back to watching Quinn early on here at Texas. And you guys remember the game, so you probably remember specific instances where it just felt like either Sark or Quinn were forcing those deep vertical shots. They were and what he said there was interesting. He said, go back and check it out, guys. Like I said, we can't play it, but go back and check it out. He says basically that just because I wrote it down here, he said just because Sark calls it doesn't mean you have to throw it. He said, he basically said if Sark trusts you, he'll call more of those plays with the deep vertical shots. But you as a quarterback ain't always got to throw them. And what I thought about was I've talked to my man Sims about this. I remember talking to him about this when he was at Texas. And Coach knows this too. Theoretically, conceptually, on paper, there's some route concepts and combinations and plays. They look beautiful. Elegant almost. It's like, man, this is gonna be great when we actually call this play. But in practice, it's not applicable on the field. It doesn't necessarily work out all the way. And I think at times for Quinn, the man with the golden arm, who can make any throw on a football field, it's possible because of Sark's brilliance as a play designer that both of them became infatuated with connecting on some of those deep vertical shots, those deep rainbow crossers and over routes. You see them in Sark's. The fact Sports Info Solutions claims that AD Mitchell ran 37 unique routes last year, guys. 37. I'm a DB coach. I can't name 20. I don't think I can name 20 routes on the route tree right now for it. I think I can get up to close to 20. 37 unique routes. That's how sophisticated Sark's passing game is. And I think at one point, a young quarterback like Quinn got a little bit infatuated, enamored with those deep concepts and him and his golden arm making all the throws. Just because you can make all the throws doesn't mean you should make all the throws. And that's wisdom. And also young quarterbacks often, coach, they think it's a L. Like I was defeated by the defense because I took the check down. And it takes like a veteran experience and wisdom to learn, oh, that's not a loss. I check it down to Jay Brooks. He breaks a tackle. That's 7 yards. Yeah. And I think now he knows that. I think, coach, that was part of it too. I think the psychology of the young quarterback in Sark's offense, because I felt like Quinn at times, he wanted to show off. And I think Sark wanted him to show off. And I think now they've kind of gotten back to on the practicality and pragmatism within the offense. Yes, those deep shots will be there, but right now just take what the defense is giving you.
Yeah, I had an offensive coordinator one time who gave me some great advice. He said, when you're installing new plays and you've got a home run and the quarterback always wants to throw the home run, get with your DC before practice on the script and have him circle that and have him go over there maybe the play before and tell that corner, safety, whatever, hey, man, here comes a double move route or whatever. Make sure you have it covered because he wants the quarterback to learn to check down. Because when you're going against, your own guys, sometimes, who you can beat, who you can't beat. Sometimes you throw it when you shouldn't throw it. But you make the defense cover your home run so that your quarterback gets used to checking down.
Yeah, because the check down, no defenses do not cover check downs, guys. It's not, defenses aren't designed that way. They're designed to defend deep to shallow. So the check down is always theoretically going to be open because we rally to the check down. Every defense I played in college, NFL, high school, we rally to the check down. That's what we rally to. All right. It's even if a linebacker is going to check down, he's taught to drop back and to actually, to sink with coverage as he is keying the check down. But you don't just cover the check down and take it away. So the check down theoretically is always there for the quarterback. Then it's up to the running back or whoever the check down is, could be a tight end. Hey, make something happen. You got about 2 yards of space. I check it down to you. Can you break a tackle and give me 4 or 5 yards instead of 1 yard? Can you do that for me? And that's kind of the purpose of the check down. It theoretically, it'll be open for you. And I think now Quinn understands that more and more. And he's actually, he brought it up. Go watch the interview. He brings up the check down like 4 times. He brings it up separately like 4 times. Like, oh, I checked it down. So I think as a young quarterback now, not even young anymore, he's a veteran quarterback. That's just maturity that I see from Quinn. All right, speaking of quarterbacks, I want to ask you about this, CJ, because the Elite 11 camps are happening right now. And we're getting like these day-by-day updates on the Elite 11 camps. And KJ Lacey is the Longhorn that's represented at these Elite 11 camps. Hook'em Casino says, did y'all see Russell from Duncanville was named MVP in Elite 11? Is the camp over with already? I'm not even sure exactly how it works. I know you get day-to-day updates. And yesterday I saw, I think KJ Lacey was like ranked 4th, but they hadn't finished all the exercises and the accuracy challenge. And they had like the pro day circuit that they do, all that kind of stuff. And they hadn't seen it yet. And there you go. Thank you very much, Matthew, for pulling it up. CJ, I know you probably know more about this than I do, and because you follow it. What is kind of the process of the Elite 11, and how did KJ Lacey do in the Elite 11 camp?
Yeah, it's a 3-day camp. Obviously, today was day 3. They just wrapped up with 7-on-7 this afternoon. I actually had a buddy out there in California where they were hosting the camp saying KJ had a pretty solid day in the 7-on-7 front. Of course, yesterday was when you saw him take that leap on into the top 5 via the Elite 11 coaches, evaluators, staff members. They had him right at number 5. I believe day 1, they had him at number 4. So contrary to what we saw from Arrivals of 24/7, some of these independent reporters who were out there as well, putting out their own list that excluded KJ Lacey, here he is on the official Elite 11 rankings, of course, coming in where I would say it matters a little bit more to the winning and competing in the Elite 11 by itself. So we'll see. The final rankings have yet to be released, but certainly a good sign for KJ to be in that contention, that top 5. Keelan Russell, of course, being named the MVP. The Elite 11 is a very interesting competition as well. You're often not pressured. It's more who can throw a ball through a hoop 20 yards down the field. That's kind of what they look for. A big, kind of accuracy competitions. They had 7-on-7 again today. Jamie French was out there earlier this week as well. So KJ Lacey and Jamie French will be actually on the same flight from California over to Austin for their official visits that begin tomorrow afternoon. So that's noteworthy as well. They spent the entire weekend together.
Wow. That is. And I've seen the kind of the record of the kind of MVPs of the Elite 11 camps. And I will say that it's a pretty impressive group. If you look at the like the Elite 11, I guess MVP so far, it's been since 2017 or 2016. You got Tua, Justin Fields, Spencer Rattler, CJ Stroud, Caleb Williams, Cade Klubnik, Jackson Arnold, and Julian Sayin. What's interesting about that group is like 60 to 70% of them have transferred. And you look at like the Elite 11 MVP, that's just a new era of quarterbacks in college football, though. I mean, that's just an observation. Trust me, I'm not criticizing it. But yeah, I mean, a lot of transfers on that list because, hey, when you're an elite quarterback, if you're not playing, somebody else will give you the opportunity. And these days will pay you really, really good money for that opportunity actually as well.
Hey, Ron,
go ahead.
I just like to add that just to be in a top 5 for a quarterback like Lacey, to me is, I mean, that's nothing to be ashamed of. The Elite 11 and all the drills they go, it doesn't really match his game. You know, it's not really what, you know, he brings so much more to the table than just 7-on-7, just throwing through a hoop at 20 yards or whatever, you know. So you take that with a grain of salt. It is right. What it is. It's, you know, it's kind of like, you know, well, we won the state championship in 7-on-7 when I was at Brownwood. And I'm like, you know, we won 7-on-7 in touch pass football. I mean, that ain't football, you know. And so Lacey, you know, he brings so much more to the table. So just to be in the top 5 to me is quite an accomplishment.
Coach, that's interesting you bring that up. I've always wondered about that, about how coaches, because it is, I mean, now 7-on-7 is his own industry in the state of Texas. Hell, man, it's
crazy.
Yeah, it's wow. I've actually gone to the, you know, like the different kind of regionals for the 7-on-7 before. I'm sure CJ, you probably go to these every year. Just go watch some of the prospects. It is pretty cool when they play here locally and you get to go watch some of the prospects just from around the area. And you know, I always wonder how do coaches believe it translates? Because guys take it very seriously. They're out there talking trash. They're out there. I mean, guys are getting excited about their work. And you said you won the whole damn thing once. And yes. You said, how good was that team? Did it translate?
Well, we lost in the semifinals to a heartbreaker to Carthage.
That's pretty good.
In the semifinals when they won their 3rd straight championship. We were ranked number 1 all year. But I told them, I mean, you know, when you got some, we just ran our offense. We just ran, but you got some people that, you know, they're running, you know, mesh and stuff where the defensive linemen are. I mean, it's just not even real. You know what I'm saying? There's no pass rush. There's no pressure. It ain't real football. It's as close as you can get without pads on. But, you know, I just try to tell the kids, hey, we still got a lot of work. That ain't real football. It's touch pass. It is what it is. But, there's a good Malik Murphy finished ahead of Quinn Ewers, in the Elite 11. And that's not taking anything away from Malik.
I'm about to say,
obviously, you know, they're going to be 2 guys in the running for the Heisman this year, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, it's a good point. I actually wondered about that, too. I've talked to people about that, how much it translates. I would love to see a study, maybe like Dave Campbell's can do it or something, about 7-on-7 success and those teams and how it translates to actual on-field success, like, you know, with the pads on. All right. Good stuff there, Coach. I want to get back to one of the other things that Quinn brought up. He was asked about what makes Sark unique. That was essentially the question, what makes Sark unique? And then he essentially referenced, I don't know if you guys watched the Joe Klatt interview with Steve Sarkeesian. If you guys haven't watched it, I would encourage you guys to watch it, and I'd encourage all the folks out there in the chat to watch it if you haven't. It's actually pretty good. They stumbled upon what I think is the secret sauce to Sark's culture and why it's so unique. They refer to it as a culture of vulnerability, where Sark has been so vulnerable, telling his story about his trials and tribulations, what he's been through. And Sark says initially he started telling it to parents because it was a way to combat negative recruiting. Before some other schools tells your story for you. You got to tell the parents your story, for they have some crazy distorted version of it. So he started telling parents his story. He started telling recruits his story, and then he said, "You know what? I got to start telling the team my story. I got to tell them too." And then, him sharing the story encouraged others to share their story, coaches and players. And then they started as a team caring more about each other on an intimate human level, more so than player to player, coach to coach, or coach to player and player to coach. And that is kind of the secret sauce to why their connective tissue is so strong in the culture. And that's why, Sark said they went to a space that he had never thought was possible. And Sark's won a national title as a coach before. So for him saying a team went to a space that he didn't thought was possible, I think him saying that means they went to a place culturally, almost spiritually as a team that he didn't think was possible. I was asking Trey Wisner yesterday actually 2 days ago, about we did third and Longhorn. Shout out to my man Nick Shuley and Alex Okafor, Derek Johnson, Fauzi Whitaker, and Jeremy Hills and the crew, about the culture and about Culture Wednesdays, which has become, kind of this. And he described it to me, and I asked him to give me some details about it. And he said they break up into groups and they share different themes and engage in exercises, and they talk about things that are on their heart and on their soul. And the groups they break into are not position groups, and they're not classified as juniors, seniors, or anything. They're random every week, and they're different every week. And he said, and essentially the way he described it to me, guys, it sounds like group therapy. Basically, every week they have group therapy, and it's different groups, and they're just sharing. And the only rule is no football is discussed. Don't talk about football. We're just talking about you as a human and what's, what's on your soul and what's in your heart. It's pretty powerful. But anyway, when Quinn was asked about what makes Sark unique, he referenced it again. He said because Sark is so open and he shares with us his story, he makes us feel like we shouldn't fear failure. He said, for us, we don't fear failure because Sark has failed and now is succeeding. And he shows you, hey, don't worry, failure is just a part of the journey. You're good if you fail. It's just part of their process. And like I said, once again, it's powerful when you hear these young men talk about that culture and what makes it so unique. And like I said, the culture of vulnerability, coach, is not something that a coach used in the old school, a very masculine game like football, you hear them talk about, but he has pride in describing it as, no, we want to be vulnerable to these young men. It's wild, man. It's good stuff. It's powerful.
It's probably been the number one biggest change from what we saw before Sarkeesian to what we're seeing now under the same, program. Obviously different head coaches, but a few years ago, you wouldn't have ever thought that your entire team would get together and talk and communicate off the field together. Now it's seemingly a recurring thing, right? We talked to official visitors a week ago, and what was one of the biggest takeaways? It was spending time with the team, being amongst the entire team, whether it be the quarterbacks, defensive linemen, running backs, everything that goes on. They were out at Victory Lap for the Gervonta Davis boxing match, and they were able to just kind of hang out with one another and just hang out, just be a part of the boys. You don't see that all too often, but when you do and you get that culture going, it makes a big difference going into the season. And obviously, Rod, you've been a part of teams. Coach, you've coached several teams that have great cultures. I'm sure you've been a part of teams that maybe you would have liked cultures to have been a little bit better. But when you have something going well, the last thing you want to do is disrupt it at any moment. And I think Sarkeesian's doing the right things right now to make sure that that's moving in the right direction as well.
All right. You know what? We're going to interrupt the show. I hear we got our special guest already here in the building. All right. So you know what? We'll get to the super chats. I promise you guys, we appreciate y'all. We'll get to the super chats and we'll get to all your questions as well. But right now we are joined by a very special guest. Really happy to have with us Elijah Barnes, the latest Longhorn commitment, on with us at the linebacker position. He is a fantastic player. I've already watched some film on the young man, Elijah Barnes. Elijah, thank you for the time. We appreciate you joining us. How you doing, brother?
Yes, sir. I appreciate y'all for having me. I'm doing good. How about y'all?
Hey, we're hanging in there.
Great. Doing great. Okay, I just want to, first of all, I got to ask you this, because you play in what they call the District of Doom, right? The District of Doom, man, where they say this is basically the toughest district in in all of America. Some people say in all of America, period. All right. What is it like playing in that District of Doom? And you are one of the best players in that District of Doom, where there's a lot of great players who end up playing college ball, a lot of great coaches, a lot of great programs, winning state titles. What is that like week to week, man? Give me that. Give me the lowdown on that.
I mean, it's really the type of district that you want to play in, just to get that exposure, for yourself, for somebody that's coming up. Just to get looked at, and it's a great opportunity, to show out on the biggest stage of high school football. So, it's a great opportunity, to showcase your talent against great talent around the state of Texas. So,
yeah, that's going to translate obviously to the SEC. When you talk about no weeks off, bring your best each week. Elijah, I want to talk to you about this upcoming week, right? You'll be taking your official visit to Austin, get back down to campus. It's been just over 2 months now since you've committed. What are you looking forward to most this upcoming weekend, getting back onto campus and seeing the city for an extended stay a little bit?
Just to see everybody again, meet with some of my future teammates and get my recruiting on when I get down there, try to get some of those guys to commit, to the Longhorns, and have them join the brotherhood, and build this thing up together. So this 25 class. So, that's what I'm willing to do, just meet everybody again and have a great time down there.
Hey, Elijah, Bob Shipley here. I want to ask you one thing. I watched a lot of film on you, and it just seems like some people are born to play linebacker. You just have that ability to know when to blitz, know when to scrape. Do you feel like that? Do you feel like it's just you feel natural, like you were born to be a linebacker? Because it dang sure looks like you are.
Yes, sir. It's in my genes. It just runs in the family. My dad played linebacker in high school and college too as well. I'm just built for it. It's just a natural gift from God. Just to be able to have the athletic ability that I have, it's just no one else has. Just my instincts and my awareness and how quick I can get to the ball and my speed as well. All that buys in with each other, and it just makes me unstoppable. So, just grateful to have this athletic ability of mine, and just grateful.
900 meters, you could chase some folks down now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I love it.
Hey, Elijah, I also saw, man, you're running anchor on the 4x1. Is that a fact at linebacker?
Yes,
Whoa,
sir.
Come on now. What's y'all 4x1 time? What's y'all 4x100 time for the 4x relay? 4x1.
This past season we ran 41.9.
That's moving.
With a linebacker linebacker at the anchor leg. Man.
41.9.
Wow.
I wanted to ask you, of course, you're one of 7 commits coming down this weekend for your official visit. The class is now up to 11 guys. How often are y'all in communication? Y'all got a group chat? I mean, how's y'all's chemistry starting to build as, we move into July up in a week or two and things really start to heat up with some decisions and all that?
I kind of, text those guys individually. Zion, I texted him, just the other day. I told him, you ready, big dog? Ready to get down there and, just have a great time. And, I hit up a couple of those other guys, James Simon, the running back. I hit him up too, telling him, I'm ready. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys down there, just create this bond, for the future, just get used around being each other a lot. So, just creating a culture and a brotherhood with each other.
I like that. Hey, Elijah, I read some of your quotes, man, when you committed, and you seem to be really complimenting your coach Nansen, and you and Coach Nansen bonded. It seemed like y'all was bonding because you got a really high football IQ. That's something you take pride in, knowing what everybody else is doing around the defense. You seem to be impressed with coaches, with Coach Nansen's football IQ. Did y'all bond a little bit about kind of football theory?
Oh, yes, sir. We talk football every time I see him. We sit down in his office. We just talk ball all day long. We watch my film and see what I did wrong and see what I can fix and see what I need to work on, for my game. And so he just teach me little things, the techniques and stuff, and the alignment and what I need to do on this play, and just going over schemes and stuff. we talk ball every time we see each other for the most part.
Nice.
I know it's summer for you. We got coaches down in the Bahamas right now, Elijah. You're making your trip down to Austin tomorrow. You got anything fun planned for the summer to get out? Maybe take a vacation before the season comes up or anything?
Nah, no sir. I mean, I don't really have time for no vacations.
That's
I'm
what I'm
solid.
talking about. That's what I'm talking about right there, baby. Ain't got no time for no vacation when you're old, fat, and retired like me.
Yeah. I don't have no time.
You go, Elijah.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Elijah, can I ask you something? I know we appreciate you, Jordan. Appreciate you giving us some time. Because right, you're a busy man. We appreciate that. You play running back too.
Yes, sir.
Do you think that your time at running back on the offensive side of the ball helps you as a defensive player and a linebacker? Because the way you play the game, you're very decisive. Do you think that's also helped you as a defensive player and a linebacker?
Absolutely. Just playing running back, I kind of understand what to do as a running back. Once you see daylight, you're going to want to hit it. So you got to meet them where they finna be. Those things like that, those are takeaways, for a linebacker. Run the daylight, don't get caught up in the trash. So that's something a running back will do. He don't want to get caught up in the trash. He wants to find daylight and try to take it to the house. So, you just got to meet him where he is and fit where he's at. So, it's a big takeaway, playing running back and, transitioning into linebacker, it was tough at first, but I'm getting used to it now. I'm the big dog on the team, so I know what I'm doing now for the most part.
Big dog.
I read an interesting quote talking about did not have time. The man that I think invented the Lamborghini. They asked him how come he didn't advertise. He said, the people that buy my cars ain't sitting around watching TV. That's you, Elijah. What do you think about the development of the players and the strength staff at the University of Texas? And what do you see yourself when you look at your development? Is there a certain area that you feel like you really want to focus on and try to develop more, whether maybe it's strength, hip strength, speed, what and what weight are you what weight are you wanting to come in at when it's that time?
I was hoping to come in at like around 225. Right now I'm about 230. I want to die down, before I get there. But the development part, I'm not really too much worried about it. I know Texas is going to develop me the right way. I know Coach Beckton is going to, push me, to be the best version of myself. And, he's going to create a great football player. He's going to develop me, strength and conditioning. And I know Coach Nansen is going to develop me as well as a linebacker. Yeah. So, I'm not too much worried about, the development part. I know that's not going to be a problem.
Hey, Elijah, okay, go ahead, CJ. Go ahead.
I just got a couple more for you, Elijah. First, who's hosting you this weekend on your official? Do you know?
David Bender. He will be hosting.
There you go. There you go. Getting a little bit of that background into the linebacking room. Obviously, he's been around for a little bit now as well. But I wanted to ask you about Johnny Nance because, Texas went through that change in the linebacking room earlier this offseason. He's been a guy who's been connected to a number of big transfers into the program. It feels like he's a guy that goes out there and is a great recruiter. How quickly did your relationship establish with him? And obviously, now that you're committed, what's it like on the day-to-day whenever you talk to him and everything that goes into that?
Oh, man, Coach Nancy, my dog. I mean, he at least texting me at least once a week, just checking up on me, seeing how I'm doing, see how my family's doing, I mean, we created a bond, when he first came to my school and watched me work out. I knew it was something in him, that wanted me on his team, and he wanted me to be there at Texas. He wanted to develop me. He told my dad that, let me coach your son, and he will be a NFL draft pick one someday. So, I kind of just sat and think about it. This is what he wants. This is what he wants for me. Like, this is where he want me to be. So that's why I committed, because of Coach Nansen. Yeah. And everybody else too, don't get me wrong, but Coach Nansen was just pumped to have me, he was just excited. And he wanted to develop me. So
yeah, I like that. And one of my favorite quotes that you've had here, Elijah, since you committed to Texas was, Texas is going to the SEC and the train is rolling. Texas is on the cusp of winning a national championship, and they need more dogs to join. And I am one of those. One of those dogs. Okay, so first I got a random strange question. Do you have a dog? Do you own a dog?
Oh, I do. She passed away though, but
I'm sorry to hear that, man.
Nah, it's fine. I had one, but
okay.
No.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that because I just want to know if you're a dog person. What if I describe you? You would be a type of dog. What type of dog are you? Based on your skill set, your style of play, and your brand of football. What kind of dog are you coming into Texas? Give me a specific kind of dog.
I'm more of a cane corso, pit bull type of dude. I'm mixed, so I got both of those in me.
Yeah.
Hey, that'll play.
I like that. I like that. I like that you went with the big stuff. I'm with you. That's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah. The best kind of mutts, man. They loyal, man. I like that.
Sure.
Well, good deal. I hope you enjoy the weekend coming up. Is there any food spots you got written down that you hope to get out there? I know Terry Black's was a big one this past weekend for a number of guys.
Hey, I'm going to go get some steak. I'm getting the big steak.
Hey,
that's what I want this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I already told him too. So
I like that.
Told him.
I'm sure they're going to put that into the plans. That's for sure.
I think it might be at VY Steakhouse. We'll see. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? They got some steakums there. You know what I'm saying? Some good stuff.
Yes, sir.
Hey, well, Elijah, thank you so much for the time, man. We know you're busy, so we appreciate you giving us some of that time. And congratulations on everything. Keep working hard, and best of luck to you, young man. Can't wait to get you on the 40.
Yes, sir. I appreciate y'all for having me on. Just to get me in front of all these fans again. It's a pleasure to speak to y'all too. I'm not gonna leave y'all out. It's a pleasure
to speak to
y'all today. And we here, Texas. We here tomorrow. We on the way tomorrow, and we're gonna be there this weekend and have a lot of fun. So
hey, that's what I'm talking about, man. That's family, baby. Hey, thank you very much. Enjoy the trip for sure.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all.
Tell the family hello.
Yes, sir.
Welcome, baby. Right. All right, that's Elijah Bo Barnes. Man, impressive young man.
Tex fans are going to love him. I'm telling you. He's got that mentality. He's got that he's got the dog in him, Rod. You brought that question up. But he plays like it. That District of Doom isn't a joke. For him to get tested as often as he does, you see why Texas jumped on him as early as they did and said, no. Get in the fold, get in the class.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like that, that District of Doom is that DFW area period is producing basically the best athletes in the country at this point playing college football outside of that Atlanta area. That's the only area that's beating that DFW area right now. And Sark is right now doing a great job of keeping Texas having majority market share in one of the most fertile recruiting grounds in the country. All right, Coach will be back. Coach had some technical difficulties. Which I'm sure coaches want to enjoy a margarita or something, but it's all good. But Coach will be back. He might join us. If not, don't worry. Trust me, it's all good. If Coach can't come back, we'll drive it home without Coach. He's probably enjoying himself on the beach somewhere, which he's well deserved. But first, let's hit this super chat. Sean, thank you for your patience. We apologize because we had Elijah come on last second, so I apologize about the delay on answering your super chat. But thank you very much, Sean. Amari Nyblack, Anthony Hill, and CJ Baxter are three guys that are underrated and poised to have a breakout year this upcoming season. We don't talk enough about the tight end position. I actually brought this up the other day, and I was like, man, we don't talk enough about the tight end position. For whatever reason, I think we've been enamored with wide receiver, which I get. The wide receiving core is deep. We talk all the time about running backs because the culture of the running back position in Texas might have the best running back room in the country. But we don't talk about tight end. And I wonder, with losing JT Sanders, what that tight end position is going to look like. We know Amari Nyblack he's a freak, essentially, at the tight end position. You brought some of these numbers up too, CJ, about how freakish his athleticism is at tight end. And I saw Pro Football Focus put out they call it a GAS metric. It's game athleticism score, essentially is what it stands for. And they use GPS tracking data for all this kind of stuff. So it's way over my head, really fancy. But they claim that in their GAS metric, game athleticism score, that Amari Nyblack is in the 99.9th percentile. the 99.9th percentile of athletes at the tight end position because of how fast he is and how fluid his movements are at tight end. Now, he's not heavy. He's 6'4", 233. I don't know what he is right now. Maybe they're putting some weight on him. But he had a top speed of over 20 miles per hour last year.
Yeah.
And he 11, I think, more than half of his receptions went for 15 plus yards. And this is what Sark wants, man, a vertical threat at the tight end position down the field. Now, he can't block as well as a JT Sanders or a Gunnar Helm. But I do wonder if we're underrating Amari Niblack's impact because he's pretty much going to get man-to-man coverage on linebackers, maybe a safety most of the time. And based on his athleticism, that should be matchups he can win.
Yeah, 100%. He's going to be a matchup nightmare for opposing defenses because he runs as well as any tight end in the country, right? He's got that frame to him already. It's all about matching up with linebackers and safety saying, you're not keeping up with me when I get my strides going. I believe Alabama a year ago used him in a role that Texas will use him very similarly. Last year at Alabama, he had the deepest average of target of any tight end in the entire country. And I think it was by a pretty sizable margin. I forget the number. I believe is right around 17 or 18 yards down the field, which gives you an idea of how they like to use him. You know, it was those deep rising crossing routes. It was the vertical threats, the corners, the posts, the double moves, the pocos, whatever you want to call them. That's how I see Texas using them. You know, we saw Jatavian Sanders make a ton of money, make a ton of big plays at the University of Texas up the seam. Now, if you're able to use an Isaiah Bond out wide, a Jonte Cook, a Ryan Wingo, a Matthew Golden on the opposite side, who do you then hone in on if all four of them are running deep, right? That's a tough thing to do. And not to mention, well, Quinn's also, you know, as we talked about earlier, right, he's looking at that check down as found money. If that look isn't open where he wants, now you got four guys 20 yards down the field. The defense has to react to that. Now all of a sudden there's 15 yards for a Jaden Blue, a CJ Baxter, or a Trey Wisner to catch the ball and run and get yards up the field. So it's really a pick your poison when you have to, you know, kind of defend this Texas offense. And again, I think Niblack, because of how well he runs, I think he's a mid 4-5 guy at that height, at that size, and at that position. That's very rare. And I think it's going to be very difficult if Texas utilizes him properly, which I certainly expect that they will, to defend him in a way that will neutralize him for a full game, multiple weeks in a row, or a full season. It's going to be a lot for defenses to handle.
Yeah. All right. We got Coach back. Coach is inside.
Got a battery in his hand. I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coach, what happened to that beautiful background you had there, Coach?
Man, my computer said I'm too hot, and I'm thinking I am too, man. I'm sweating like a dog, but it's shut down on me, so I had to move indoors.
All right, Coach. Don't worry, we won't have you here too much longer because we got to make sure Coach can get back on the beach, man. No doubt about that. But glad the Coach is back. And Coach, this is something that you wanted to bring up, and I think it's interesting. I did not know this, and this is interesting. So SMU, we all know SMU. They finagled their way into the ACC. It's kind of a little sidebar here. We'll get back to some Longhorn topics. They finagled their way into ACC, and it was a smart move by them. They wanted to be a part of kind of the future framework of major college football, and they didn't want to be one of the have-nots. But in them finagling their way into the ACC, one of the things that they agreed on was to take basically less money, less of the revenue share. And I believe they would have received like $70 million over 9 years. If you go look at it in the other conference, the American conference they were in. But now for the foreseeable future, they're going to join the ACC, but they'll do it at a discounted rate. Essentially, they're going to forego some of their revenue sharing for the time being, and they basically believe that they can raise the money on their own. They don't necessarily need the ACC to support them in their first few years in the conference. And now this graphic, I think, proves their case that SMU reportedly has raised $159 million in fundraising.
Yeah, and their goal is $200 million. I have pretty good sources there at SMU, and their goal is $200 million. They ain't worried about the money they're going to lose. And I would be watching our young man from Aledo and see, because, there's some publications out there that show SMU in the lead for him right now. And so I don't know if there's a correlation or not, but they're raising a lot of money. They are really trying to put their program back in the national picture, the national spotlight. And that's just the reality of today's, Power 5 conferences. You've got to have the money. If you don't have, they don't have a huge fan base. It's a small private school in the middle of Dallas, albeit it's a beautiful campus in a beautiful part of Dallas. And there's an awful lot of money in that town. And there's an awful lot of money. My father actually graduated from SMU, played with Doak Walker and Kyle Rote Jr. back in the day. Wow. I promise you, there's not any of his money in that 159, but stick that in your back pocket, because I'm telling you, SMU has a lot of stuff brewing that really hasn't hit the headlines yet, and I think they're very, very serious about getting back into the national spotlight, and they're obviously on their way raising A&M. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's it's pretty crazy. I mean, because they're going to go their first 7 years, I believe, in the ACC. They're going to forego any revenue distribution, and they did that confidently, essentially, right? Saying, no, we can raise the money on our own, and this is proof of it. That's really impressive, CJ. And I don't know how they're doing in recruiting. I think the SMU program, though, has done really well, and especially the transfer portal. I know that, and getting some recruits via the transfer portal. But man, this shows that maybe it was the right decision for them to take less early on, because they know they can float. They can float it.
Yeah, well, go ahead, Coach. My bad.
No, you go ahead, CJ.
Well, I was going to say, you see the jump Texas has had in recruiting on a national scale when they're able to say, now we have the SEC logo on our chest, right? SMU is being able to do the same thing, saying, oh, we're in a Power 4 now. That's a little bit different than the American. I love the American. They got some fun teams down there, but it's different when you're getting to play Clemson, Florida State, Miami, Duke, North Carolina. Those are big name draws on the East Coast. You're going to extend your recruiting out to the East, similarly to how Nebraska was able to poach some of those Texas guys when they were running some big-time teams down here in the Big 12. It's a brand new territory for them. The other thing, if you didn't think SMU had money, you're not a college football historian. That's always been the case, right? And so now in the world of NIL, you're able to see them, get some kids out of DFW that probably would have ended up at a Texas and Oklahoma, Texas Tech, and A&M, because, hey, stay home, play for the Dallas school, be a part of the hometown team that's on the rise. I don't know if we have a photo lined up or not about the south end zone that they're building at Ford Stadium in Dallas. But my goodness, it looks mighty impressive. What used to be just the big scoreboard on top of the hill, it's starting to look exactly what Texas just built, right? And that's tremendous. I'm excited for it, because you look at what SMU means to Dallas, and Dallas is a melting pot when it comes to sports fandoms. SMU was down for about 40 years, 30 years. It was a big deal when they made a bowl game, I believe, in the early teens, basically going to the Hawaii Bowl. It's been so long. They're fighting back from the death penalty. Well, now they're in a Power 4 conference again. And you see why, with $159 million raised, that the Big 12 said, no, you are not coming into our territory. Because what would that do to a Baylor? What would that do to a TCU? Texas Tech is fighting. They're building their own south end zone. They've done a great job building their own money, but a lot of their recruits come from DFW as well. If they're on equal footing as those in-state schools, you're looking again at what could be another run for SMU and what could be, a very, fortuitous time for them in the world of NIL with no true regulations at the moment. So they're doing a tremendous job again. Thank you, Matthew, for pulling that up. The end zone that they're building is going to be great. And Coach, then you hit it on the head. I mean, they're awesome.
It's really interesting though, because we literally just talked about DFW. Only the Atlanta metro area produces NFL players at the rate that DFW does. Like, that's how fertile that recruiting ground is there in Dallas. And then you talked about the NIL era that we're in now, it being a law of the land. If you got the money, cash is king. It is. I mean, in the NIL world, you really can kind of wedge your way in and get some really good recruits and really overachieve as a program if you got the money to put behind your program, because that's about to be the ultimate separator, guys, when revenue sharing starts. Yeah, I just saw an article that Ohio State said they're going to exhaust every bit of their $22 million salary cap of revenue sharing to share with their student athletes. That's just a recruiting tool. Say, come to Ohio State. We'll give you all the money we can. You'll get all of it. Now, you don't have to share $22 million. I'm sure they'll have a kind of a floor, a base, kind of that you have to revenue share with your student athletes. But I do think now, if SMU can raise that kind of money, they can be a player. I don't know if they'll be a power player, but they can be a player in the new age of college football.
Well, I think the people that were trying to raise the money for SMU, there are a lot of people that love SMU, but they weren't really wanting to put in millions to watch them play in the AAC. Okay, but now you get us in a Power 5, you get us in a big time Power 4, whatever. You get us in, then we'll pony up, so to speak. That's exactly what happened. They got in the ACC, then all of a sudden, the people, some of whom I know that are raising the money, I mean, all of a sudden they said, okay, here it is. Let's go. Put your money where your mouth is. And I'm just telling you, you better watch out, because you get people, you say, hey, come to a smaller school. You don't have all this crazy stuff going on like you do at some of these big schools with 50 and 60,000 students. A small, intimate environment where a degree and the connections that you'll make will, do all the things that it can do anywhere else is what they're selling. And obviously it's working. So I'm just saying, watch out. SMU is a team. I mean, if they wind up signing the back from Alito, it's working, and they've done well recruiting, and they will continue apparently to do well recruiting, especially now that they're going to be in a big power conference.
And they've done a good job getting quarterbacks too. SMU's done a good job of getting quarterbacks, man. Some Texas quarterbacks, actually.
I've got one last comment about SMU, because I know this is on Texas football, right? We want to talk about Texas. Why will SMU be a thorn in Texas' side? Well, Texas just hosted an SMU commit, right? They've done a great job at evaluating early. And now that they're playing on this level, recruits are going to give them that extra look, whereas it's no longer just, SMU might be my only offer at the moment. Yeah, I'll go play. No. SMU is going to compete in the ACC, because I think right now the ACC is a bit down. What's Clemson doing? Can Miami figure it out? Florida State's that one team, but they're going through a transition where they just lost 11 guys to the draft and have to find a new quarterback. Here's the other thing. Here are some names on this SMU roster right now. It's kind of become the hub for guys that end up at a Texas or end up at an Oklahoma, and they say, you know what, this isn't where I thought I would end up on the depth chart. I want to transfer. I want to go back home potentially. SMU is that number one spot. Listen to some of these names that are on their depth chart right now. LJ Johnson, the running back out of Cy-Fair. Kamar Wheaton, the running back out of Lakeview Centennial and Garland. Remember how heated those recruitments were? They came out of the same class. Jordan Hudson, the borderline 5-star wide receiver who started at TCU, flipped on over to SMU. Ashton Kozart, big-time wide receiver that started at Oregon. Kelvonte Moochie Dixon started at Texas. Logan Parr started at Texas. These guys are all expected to be starters. Savion Byrd, he was a guy that was originally at Duncanville, went to Oklahoma. Now says, whoa, not where I want to be. I'm going to go home. That's only on the offensive side of the ball. They've done a tremendous job of accumulating talent. The minute that they start winning some games and really start competing at that Power 4 level, Dallas is going to be very competitive once again. It never won't be. But now that you add another school to the mix, to the Arkansas, the Oklahomas, the Techs, the Baylors, Texas, obviously, it's going to get really crowded, 100%.
Good stuff there, CJ. All right, let's before we continue here, let's thank one of our fantastic sponsors of the Winning Drive. We're so grateful for our friends over at South Point Dodge to have them a part of the On Texas football team, and of course for sponsoring the winning drive. Texas football fans, you can score an easy extra point this season when you get to the point at South Point Dodge. South Point Dodge has over 600 vehicles in stock, and their award-winning sales staff, they don't play games. They're not about gimmicks. They're just about getting straight to the point by getting you the best deal possible. Also, remember that South Point Dodge is Austin's automotive everything. So if you're looking to sell your car, you can get South Point's best offer over the phone or online. Get top dollar for any make or model vehicle, even if you didn't buy it from South Point. South Point Dodge is home of the real deal, whether you're getting the lowest price on the best new Ram trucks, or if you're making sure you're getting the best value for your old car. You can visit them online at southpointdodge.com, or you can visit them in South Austin off of I-35 in person. Just get to the point. Either way, at South Point Dodge, at southpointdodge.com. Thank you very much for your support and sponsoring the winning drive. All right, a couple of questions here. I know we're getting close to the end of it, so if you got some questions, throw them out there. Football Junkie, appreciate you. Football Junkie, thank you very much for the super chat. Should Texas be worried about big-time DFW recruits like Cook, Hill, Muhammad being lured away by SMU? Whoa. Only if they're not playing, right, TJ?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. Of course, playing in the SEC, that's ultimately the biggest, highest level of competition that you could play in. Texas is going to match, top whatever NIL dollar that these guys are going to be offered with anyways, to keep them. These are borderline 5-star guys. You fought so hard to keep them or to earn their commitment in the first place, earn their signature. I think that's not something yet you need to worry about. Of course, Texas just played for the college football playoff. They were that close to winning the national championship. SMU, while competitive and while making that jump, they've yet to show on the Power 4 scale now that they'll be able to continue that development and level of success on the field that Texas just went in and showed in 2023.
Yeah. What I love about
Great
SMU,
question, though.
Yeah, it is a good question. What I love about SMU's program, though, is they figure out quarterback. They do a good job of bringing in good quarterback play. Even the young quarterback they got now was named Preston Stone.
Stone, yep.
He's a good player.
Yep.
I've watched some film of him. He's a good young quarterback. I really do like his game. Good question there, Football Junkie. How about this question for CJ? How did the midweek visits go, and do we have a chance on any of them besides the SMU commits? SMU coming up again, Coach. Look at you. Hey,
I'm sorry.
No, it was relevant though. It's actually relevant to the conversation. CJ, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that's going to be probably the guy Texas has the best chance right now with. That's Nathan Tillman, the safety out of Mansfield Timberview. He made the midweek visit. Obviously, he had prior commitments or official visit commitments already locked in. He's going to Baylor last week. He's going to TCU this weekend. So he's kind of already had his guys, his visits locked in. Texas offered June 1st. So to get him on campus anyways, that's a testament to how interested he is at playing at Texas on a big stage in the SEC. I think Texas has a great shot later on this month into July. If they want to flip him, they'll have a good opportunity to do just that. Dorian Brew, the elite cornerback out of Conroe, actually just threw up some photos on Twitter from his visit to Texas. He actually told our Jerry Hamilton his visit was a 10 out of 10. So good signs there. Of course, we'll check in with him. I have a few messages out to Dijon Lee at the moment. Right now, he just landed in Tuscaloosa for his Alabama official visit. Of course, Texas came in well behind where they wanted to be in that recruitment. He dropped the top 4 that did not include the Longhorns. But to get an official visit from him is still pretty interesting in the sense that, hey, maybe there's some interest later on down the road that Texas could circle back and potentially flip. But overall, solid visit for the 3 guys for the midweek. And, of course, that leads into 20 guys coming in starting tomorrow.
All right, good stuff there, CJ. Appreciate it. All right, one other topic I want to bring up before we get out of here. I saw Texas promoting that 2 of their DBs, Andrew Makuba and Jade Barron, have been selected to be on the Lot Impact preseason award watch list. For those who don't know the Lot Impact, it's a Lot Impact defensive player, I believe. It's basically for one of the best defensive players in the country. So it's the Lot Impact award for Ronnie Lott, by the way, the great Ronnie Lott. And I would ask this question, and I said there will be a lot of Longhorns that will be on these preseason watch lists. So we'll let you know when Texas promotes it. But give me the player. Give me the player other than I'm going to take out Quinn Ewers. I'm going to take out Kelvin Banks. Because those are too easy. Give me the player most likely to either win a national award or be a finalist or a semi-finalist even for a national award. Take Quinn Ewers out of it. Take Kelvin Banks out of it. Listen, I was a semi-finalist for the Thorpe Award. All right. I'm not tooting my horn. I'm just saying, I'm not saying anybody can do it, but it can happen. Like, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to be like all-time great.
Come on, Rod.
No, I'm just giving you the point. I'm not trying to brag, but I'm just saying, like, you don't have to be a GOAT or all-time great to be a semi-finalist. So take Quinn out of it, take Kelvin Banks out of it, because those two guys they automatically going to be on probably a finalist for multiple national awards if things go as well as we think. Outside of those two, who's your best chance at a national award winner, finalist, or semi-finalist? Because maybe you don't think they're going to win it, but maybe they can be a finalist or a semi-finalist. I know it ain't easy, right? Taking those out of it.
I think Anthony Hill. I see the chat mentioning Anthony Hill pretty often. It's hard not to go that direction, right? What is it? The Nagurski Trophy? Is that what the linebackers win?
Hey, the Bert Arvin is what's the kicker award? Hey, that's not bad.
I looked this up the other day. You know who?
Not bad.
Alabama actually added. It's the Lou Groza Award. Alabama added the semifinal or the runner-up out of Miami, Ohio. So that's another one to watch. It's gonna be Bert Auburn and this kid from Alabama now for the SEC first team kicker spot. But I like Justin. What Justin has to say right here. C4. How about we can watch that one? I think he's gonna kind of have some more success right now inside the tackles. Obviously, he's added to his frame. He's been in the weight room this year. But what we just talked about being that dump down option for Quinn Ewers as a check down artist, I think that's a guy that could put up some really impressive numbers behind the offensive line that we all believe is going to be very talented. There's the other answer, Rod. The entire offensive line, the Joe Moore.
Oh, that's good. That's probably the best one outside of Bert Auburn. The whole O-line. Yep. That's good. Ooh, Malik.
I
wish
I got to say, other than Isaiah Bond, I think Isaiah Bond has a shot. Trey Moore, and maybe outside shot, Jake Majors. Ooh. Outside shot, Ethan Burke.
Okay. Yeah. No, you like that.
Yeah, that's a lot of individuals, right? That we're talking about being in contention. Right?
Yeah.
Texas got a talented. I don't know if you saw the tweet from Heather Dinich the other day. She works with ESPN, does a great job covering college football. She basically tweeted out, it's never too early to look forward and ahead to that Texas-Georgia game. ESPN has both of them, offenses and defenses for both teams, ranked right now in like the top 5 of the advanced metrics. So that she's pumping it up. Obviously, we know that game's going to be exciting, but to have Texas in position with Georgia as a top 5 offensive unit and defensive unit, whew, thank you, Matthew. This is the tweet right here. ESPN Analytics have both Texas and Georgia as a top 5 units of both offense and defense. No, it's not too early to be too excited for that game. Couldn't agree more, and I'm glad it's in Austin because it's going to be a banger of a game, that's for sure.
Yeah, the metrics and the analytics likes Texas defense more than maybe our eye test likes Texas defense, right? You saw the Pro Football Focus secondary. They were ranked in the top 10. We saw the highest graded returning cornerbacks in the SEC. They had the 3 Texas cornerbacks ranked pretty high. So it looked the metrics maybe higher, and obviously the advanced metrics, they're higher on Texas defense than we are. I hope that if Texas does have a defense that good, I think they are going to win a national title. I think if their defense is that good, I think that's kind of one of the things holding them back. If their defense is going to be that good, because defense wasn't that good last year. The front 7 was, but the backs, the back end didn't handle their. They didn't handle their part of it. So that's the question: can that defensive backfield rise to the occasion? I think is the point. All right, sorry, go ahead, Coach.
I wasn't going to say anything, but I like. Muhammad Makuba. I'm hoping this brings in some confidence. Some of the pub they've been getting in this offseason, we've been kind of hard on those guys, because like I said, I don't know that people that put out these publications watch every single play like we do, But I do think those guys have the ability to help our secondary reach the level that has been predicted that they're going to be. And if they can, I'm hoping this will help the confidence, raise their confidence, because, man, Rod, you got to have a short memory playing defensive back, especially corner. Man. You got to have a short memory, man. And and it's nice for those guys to get a little publicity and go, hey, man, we believe in you. We believe you're going to be in one of the top players in the country at your position. Man, that's good. I mean, that's like, I'm not giving up. They ain't going to give up on themselves. But I mean, every player is built a little bit different. Their psyche is a little bit different. But I'm really happy that they're getting some pub and building the confidence, as long as they know that they've got to correct some mistakes and do some things a little better than they did last season. They certainly potentially can help us have one of the top defenses in the conference.
Yeah, man, he had the best coverage grade for the Longhorns last year overall by Pro Football Focus, and I like that Sark Coach of the Year one. I'm hoping that is the case, because Sark is Coach of the Year. That means Texas had a damn good year. Yep. But right, the secondary is going to be a big part of the uncertainty. If Texas can remedy that issue, I think Texas can be. They can exceed or even match expectations this year, which are really high. All right, before we get out of here, let's thank our friends over at Flat Creek for their support of the winning drive. Did you know the most awarded wine in Texas, actually, folks, is the vineyard closest to Austin? Yes, my friends over at Flat Creek Estate. Flat Creek Estate Winery is just minutes from downtown Austin, and they've won award after award for their vintage wine, Super Texan. I can vouch personally for how great Super Texan is. My wife loves it. We actually had 3 bottles of it, but we no longer do, because it's just that good. Super Texan is now available at your local Specs, so give it a try. Of course, Flat Creek is also a gorgeous venue with barbecues and wine tastings every single weekend. It's a perfect venue for a day date, or just you might want to have a getaway for one weekend with your significant other. It is a beautiful venue. Go check it out for yourself, or go online and visit their website at flatcreekestate.com. That's flatcreekestate.com for Flat Creek Estate Winery. Thank you so much for your support of the winning drive. All right, guys, before we get out of here, any last words for the people? Coach, you're in the Bahamas, so we're just trying to get you back on the beach with a daiquiri or a marg in your hand as soon as possible. That's what we're doing.
No, it's all good. I think Makuba's a great addition to our team. I'm not saying he had a bad season, but Manny is we, like I said, we've been hard on him and the rest of the DBs, and I just kind of want to straighten that out a little bit. I think it's I think it's going to be. I'm hoping for nothing but the best. But man, I just want to say, you two guys, and I've told you all this off the show, but y'all are two of the best in this business, man. Rod, nobody brings more than you do to the table with your research, and I just wish sometime you could take a picture of your office with all that stacks of paperwork. And CJ, man, I think you're one of the best there is, keeping up with all the recruits. I don't know how you do it. Every time we talk to you, that's it. Every time we talk to you on the road, you're talking to these kids. I mean, it's just such a pleasure working with you guys, man. And I'm just glad to grab on your coattails and just hang on and provide a little comment.
Get out of here, Coach. Yeah, get out. Hey, thank you for the kind words, Coach. But it's an honor to work with you. I learn something new every day from the wisdom of Coach Shipley, so I appreciate that. Thank you for the kind words. And thank you guys for the super chats. Thank you guys for your participation. Thank you guys for all the questions as well. Thanks to my man Matthew behind the scenes, because he does an amazing job. He's a real MVP.
He really is. You're right.
He really is.
Absolutely.
And Coach, extra thanks to you for joining us from the Bahamas, because if I was in the Bahamas, I'm not sure I would be on this live stream. So
yeah.
God bless you. No doubt. All right. Thanks to my man CJ. Thank you to Flat Creek as well. And thank you to our good friends over at South Point Dodge. We'll be on tomorrow. Remember, we got a 1:00 live stream tomorrow on Fridays.
Another special guest.
Hey, Mama Vogel. Yeah, don't forget about Mama Vogel. That's for sure. Yeah. All right, CJ, speaking of Mama Vogel, who's our special guest? We got another special guest coming on?
Lance Jackson, expected to come on tomorrow, 1 p.m. Texas commit, the edge rusher, 6'6", 270 is what he told me he was up to last week. But He's expected to come on tomorrow for the Longhorn live stream starting at 1 p.m. So make sure to tune in. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, come join us on ontexasfootball.com. Become an OTFOG, $39.95 a month. I nailed that read right there as well. So let's get out of here, guys. Thank you again, Matthew. Thank you for the chat as well.
All right. Until next time, folks. Hook 'em.